and you feel it inside of you. That's the ghost of Jerry Jones.
Did he die?
No.
I thought you just dropped some breaking news. I thought you just dropped some breaking CanFan news.
Hey, one day, but not today.
Not today, baby. Crack 'em
Crack 'em
if you got 'em,
Ooh,
and
that's
welcome to the Sunday service. Crack 'em if you got 'em.
Man, hey, just a shout out to our boy. Oh,
Stephen
it's
White.
not working. Oh, Adam's muted me. I don't know what's going on here.
I didn't mute you.
Okay, never mind.
I didn't do anything to you.
I was trying to get a soundbite going, but it's...
You're wanting to...
We got off guard because we thought Jerry Jones was dead. Can you imagine when that day happens? When you do get that news that Jerry Jones
has passed? It's going to be in another 20, 30 years.
Do you think so? Yeah.
No,
Okay,
fuck no.
Well, okay, I think he's 70. Is he 79 or 80? He's up there. He looks older than like 80 to me. He looks like he looks like Senator Palpatine.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Okay, so he's 80, October 13th, 1942.
Well, let's go through all results. There's 77 million. We need to verify this.
So he was born, right during the start of the Americans being involved in World War II.
I love this, that Stephen Jones, maybe that's the wrong image of him, but they got this like...
That's his kid.
That's okay.
That's Jerry Jones's kid. Jimmy Johnson, 79. See, Jimmy Johnson looks like a good 79 to me. He looks like he's... And doesn't he? He looks like a good 79. He's aged a little bit in the last few years. But Jerry Jones, let's be honest. What do you guys think he has left in him, left in the tank?
8 years.
You think only 8 years? You think 88?
It'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
2031, he's hitting the deck.
I'm not wishing that upon
But
the
that's
man.
but now we all got to guess. I know this is kind of cryptic, but Ad, what do you think for Jerry Jones? If he doesn't slow down his salt intake,
I don't know. I mean, the difference is that with old age, and I mean, this isn't science, but Jerry Jones seems to be pretty active. Every day he's probably working his brain, so he's not like just retired and like allowed himself to rest.
Has something he's always striving for.
Yeah, so I think that
big.
mentally keeps you kind of in check, but it also, yeah.
Give me an age, then. I need an age.
I actually like that. I like that analogy. I think it's true. Because Warren Buffett's a 95.
Well, look at
his buddy's like 96.
Wants to stack those bills still.
Yeah.
Dollar bills.
Clint Eastwood's 90 years old and he's just about to prep another movie.
I don't know if you should be doing that.
He actually looks good for his age. But give me an age. When is Jerry Jones expected to live till?
94.
Do you think it's one of those things, if they win a Super Bowl, he kind of like, he feels like he's done
on the
it
field
and can just go.
He's going to go, I did it all! And then just explode in the confetti of Cowboys.
No, he would. I did it all, and then it would be, and then his skin would break, and it would like be dust, like the dust away.
No, it'd be salt.
Yeah, salt.
And
away.
is it kind of one of those things that if he's, like people that do drugs or are heavy alcoholics, when they quit, they can almost die from instantly quitting. Yeah. If Jerry Jones quit his salt intake, would he just shrivel up, you think?
Oh yeah,
just like
a reverse slug.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think he would shrivel if he stopped his salt. His body wouldn't know how to handle that moisture,
or it'd blow up.
Oh,
yeah. He would just expand.
Oh no, this Texas humidity!
It hurts.
But yeah, back to the original call-in. Jerry Jones is alive still.
He is alive.
He's alive and well, and he's about to go on another run for that Super Bowl going into the 2023 NFL season with the Dallas Cowboys.
I really liked us having a look at the early preliminary, because I do expect it to change, depth chart for the Cowboys. It really got my juices flowing just thinking about the offseason. And I'm still very, very unsure about the running back position. Not unsure. I know we have a certainty in Tony Pollard, but it's where is he going to start the season, and then how long for him to get back into that shape, even if it's just physical or mental. Let's say there's one of those hurdles there for him after he broke his leg. Does Rojo come in and capitalize enough to make, like, can anyone fill that position, basically, is the question left open with the departure of Zeke. And then what else do we got in the backfield with Deuce Vaughn and Hunter?
Malik Davis, Hunter. How do we say the dude's name? Hunter Luepke?
I mean, I'd say right now we get free range.
Yeah, free range until we get like a couple call-outs. Until preseason week 1 when they start saying it. Luepke. I actually, because after my little rant at Ad on Wednesday night about how we were kind of hoping that he could kind of come in and at least shoulder a little bit of the load that Zeke Elliott has left.
Yep. And he's always leaving his
He's
loads.
leaving the load. It's like, oh man, is that Zeke's towel? Why is he always leaving these load covered towels everywhere? But the more I read about Hunter, I'm gonna just call him Hunter. The more I read about Hunter and the more stuff I watch about him and how successful Kuhn was in the Green Bay fullback position, I still don't think he's ever gonna take as much pressure off of Dak Prescott as say Ezekiel Elliott did, but I think he will definitely. I think he has I got to get it up here. I think he has a very good chance to make the team. And I actually ran a poll on the Instagram at Cowboys Can Fan. If anyone's trying to look at the Instagram, I ran a poll asking, will fullback Hunter Luepke make the 53-man roster? And currently, you got it up there. Currently, you got to vote for the results.
I say yes.
Oh, live voting. We're live voting.
I can't. I actually can't.
Okay, so 82% are saying yes, 18% saying no. So the fans have spoken. The fans believe we could use a fullback. And Mike McCarthy, we talked about this in the live draft coverage. He likes to use a fullback. So it'd be interesting to get that guy in there. And we got him as an undrafted free agent. So it's perfect.
It's just for the record, for anybody who's tuning in, they didn't see the main event. It wasn't saying Hunter Luepke is going to replace Ezekiel Elliott. We were saying multiple guys have been drafted to reproduce Ezekiel Elliott's numbers.
Yeah, fair.
So it's the Moneyball thing. Listen, you're not supposed to replace Giambi. You can't do it. You need multiple players to replace Giambi.
It's not wrong there. Well, and I mean, as far as the running, I think the easiest part of Zeke's game that's going to be replaceable is his yard total. Like, he didn't have a crazy yard total. The stuff that's going to be hard is his short distance and his touchdown total and his pass blocking.
Well, those
are hard traits to block.
The thing I really liked, CFO Sports, they released that video yesterday that I sent you, and it shows just the scheme for the power scheme that they're going to be running and where they feel.
Shout out to J-Tuck.
Shout out to J-Tuck, where Luke Schoonmaker and possibly Hunter Luepke are going to actually form for the run game.
Yep.
And just gets me excited to see it goes back to drafting with a purpose.
J-Tuck does want to get on the show, so we'll have to get J-Tuck on the show. He was actually down in the draft doing some coverage. I don't know if it was for NFL, but he had credentials. Credentials.
On that video, then that was on Brian Schottenheimer and his time in Seattle.
Well, yeah, the one that you're looking at right here.
Yeah.
From here, I'll just bring it up. Yeah, so this one right here.
Oh no, it's on YouTube, so I don't want to. I guess we can bring it up and not play it.
Yeah, well, J-Tuck's not gonna flag us.
No, but it could be an automatic.
This
thing.
is a great.
Oh, I didn't know they would do automatic.
They might just. I don't want to play.
We don't want to play with fire.
But this is the video.
Yeah, this is the video that I'm talking about, because if you just kind of just scan over to, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Check this video out. It has a great breakdown of the power scheme. He's just talking about they're just talking about the, like this layout right here. He does a really good job breaking down where Scooney's going to be. Y is Scooney, and then H might even be our boy Hunter.
Well, they're showing this is Michigan, so this is Michigan's. This is what they ran.
Right.
So that's Y is where Schoonmaker played in the Michigan Power run.
Yeah, but if we were to do something similar like that, you could see the need for a fullback on that one side there.
Definitely, or Jake Fergalicious, or I imagine Loop, Key, Hunter, whatever the fuck you want to call him. He's going to just kind of fizzle into that role of kind of the run or the fullback in San Francisco. I'm gonna fuck his name up. Juszczyk. Joey Juszczyk. But I could imagine him kind of hopefully filling a role like that, because it's a role the Cowboys haven't had in a long time since arguably Moose Johnson. So it'd be sweet to get. And like I said, undrafted free agent. Yep. There's no skin in the game. It makes all the perfect sense, and you love to see. That's a story I want to see, you know,
the story that I like, and you just brought up Juszczyk, and it kind of triggered my brain to go. And I know we don't want to talk bang bang 49ers gang,
bang bang Niners gang,
bang bang Niners gang. But Isaiah, I forget the wide receiver's name. He was drafted. He wasn't even an undrafted free agent. I guess he's technically an undrafted free agent, but
did he get drafted or not drafted?
Sorry, he got drafted.
So he's not an undrafted free agent.
No, sorry. What I meant, he didn't get the call to go. He didn't get any type of call to go to the combine. He didn't get any type of call at all, and he threw out a video on social media, him doing routes and plays, and the 49ers signed him in free agency
So he wasn't drafted.
Wasn't drafted.
So he is an undrafted free agent.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just going to go over. He didn't have the call or anything like that. But those are the types of stories where it's like, oh, cool. Social media, you put out something, you have some talent, and they you know.
That's the age we live in. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just taking clips of myself, sending them to people, trying to get off this show, see if someone picks me up.
Oh, that would be hilarious if we do some route running with us and.
Oh, I just meant like a podcast. But yeah, I mean, even funnier. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm waiting for that call from the Cowboys for me to go join the clone zone.
That'd be hilarious. If you had to go and try out for any position right now that you think you like, what position would you try out?
Dude, I went for a 5-minute hike the last week and almost died. So I don't even think, even if they asked me, I wouldn't do it because I think it would have an effect on my long-term health. So I don't know. Water boy, I could maybe run out on the field and give some water. There's no fucking way I could do I couldn't compete with anyone running right now doing anything. So I don't know. What would you guys do if you had to go? Alex is like a slot wide receiver. Gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, I just that, or I guess a safety.
And then I would say,
or free safety, one of the two.
We just have to put you a running back.
That's the only thing I'd try out for.
Oh, I would love to see. I can't. This is okay. Going into off script completely. I can't wait till we can insert ourselves into AI with our, like, you can run a 40 time, and do a jump, and then it just takes you and puts you into that scenario. I cannot.
Well, you saw that NBA thing, eh?
Yeah, that's wild.
They literally another Sith looking or what is it, president of the NBA? Forget his name. It's not Stern's the only NBA guy in there. And
I don't know any NBA. I don't know any NBA stuff.
But anyways, it's the commissioner of the NBA. Looks like a Dracula, and he's and he's like goes around, takes it, just scans the guy, and then the next thing you know, he's fucking jamming.
Yeah, he's it puts him in the play, superimposes him he's wearing like a pink shirt.
Yeah, and his shorts. Like, that's just wild.
That is wild.
It's crazy with augmented reality AI and your phone, because the phone has such high resolution. You can go around and you can do photogrammetry on things. So like even what a lot of creators will do, and not even just creators, but like full blown movies. You could take, like, let's say this, prop it up onto something, and then as long as there's good light, you could take an app on your phone. You just go around and you take basically multiple photos, and then it creates a 3D model, and then they use that right in actual movies or
they better not take the shotgun knife.
Which is what they did with that guy. They basically created an on-the-fly 3D model of him and then inserted it into
a live
but
a live NBA game.
It was just wild.
That's crazy.
Just wild.
Right there.
Okay, so CFO Sports, J Tuck.
Careful though, it's spicy.
Cracking out these great videos. 40K. Well done by him, man. Give it a like while you're on there, guys.
Yeah.
Give him a like. We're gonna give J Tuck a like here.
Let's just proof in the pudding. Showed that we liked it. There we go.
J Tuck.
I'm not subscribed though.
Subscribe it up. There it is.
There you go, baby.
Okay, so we were talking about possibly. I read a few articles. They were talking about what they're going to do to kind of fill in that absence of Zeke Elliott. It was an article on the Landry Hat by Joey Palizzi, I'm going to say.
Joey Jusak.
3 power running backs that Cowboys could deploy behind star Tony Pollard.
There was actually 2. I think that's the one that you wanted. There was,
there's this article that are guys that that are possibly on the roster.
Okay.
And then the other one's free agents.
Okay.
Type thing. And there's one player that kind of crosses in on to both parts. And I'm sure you guys would be able to see who that is.
Zeke.
Yeah, it's Zeke. It is. Yes, you're correct. So I think actually number 3. So the first power back that they think they could put behind Tony Pollard is, 21, Ezekiel Elliott. Question. If they did bring Zeke back, does he somehow get 21 back from Stephon Gilmore?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Well,
really?
That's going to be for them to talk about.
But you guys think it wouldn't happen?
I don't know. I feel
Zeke's throwing some serious cheddar at him to get that 21 back. I guarantee it.
Yeah, well, he'd have to pay for the jersey change depending on when that happens. Like, because I don't know when they have to have their jersey numbers in and registered. So, but hey, there's that post you put, true or not, can't verify it, but Zeke goes down and spends $12K a night in the casino, so it might not be nothing to him.
Well, I mean, he's still sitting on. He was a very lucrative paid running back for the Dallas Cowboys. So if he wanted to give Gilmore some, I mean, the thing is, Gilmore doesn't have an attachment to 21. He was 5 last year, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas Zeke, he's always been 21 in Cowboys Nation.
Probably gives it to him. Here's the question though that I think comes to mind is what would that backfill with Zeke returning look like? I mean, I think it's actually probably a pretty good position for him.
Yep.
Because he has tons of support. He's not going to have to go move and then get reacquainted. I would assume they'd pay him like what, $5 million?
I think less than that, dude.
Less than that? Yeah.
I would say maybe like, I mean, if they gave him 5, it's because he's got history with the team.
Let's say 5 in total if he like plays.
I would say maybe 2 years for 6.
Okay.
Like a 2-year deal, $6 million. I could see something like that. To me, that's kind of the running back value right now.
Sure. If that's what he's gonna be getting on the free market, it makes a sense to just come back to Dallas.
Why wouldn't you go to, the only way you don't go back to Dallas is because your ego comes in. I don't know if Zeke's that guy. I think he's very respected in the Cowboys locker room. He's got a lot of his best friends. You know, he went to the Cowboys at 21. He's been there for 6-7 years. His best friend's Dak Prescott. Why wouldn't you want to go? You know the offense. You've worked under Mike McCarthy.
Team's better.
Team's better. As long as you can swallow that pride issue of, okay, they cut me, and now I'm coming back at X amount of dollars. For him, it's definitely the best situation for him.
It ain't going to happen until we get closer to season.
Yeah.
And I actually don't believe any team's going to take him until, week 2 or 3. Once you go through preseason injuries and you see what happens to some of these backs in game time, I don't think we're seeing Zeke sign anywhere until then.
So it's saying he had the 3rd most carries inside the 5 in the NFL with 16 last season, only behind Jalen Hurts, who had 20, and Jamal Williams, who had 28.
Holy shit.
And converted 9 of those 16 carries for touchdowns. Elliott also led the team with 12 rushing touchdowns, all coming inside the 20. So he definitely has a role still in the Dallas, or not even in the Dallas Cowboys, but in the NFL.
On a team, yeah.
I mean, 9 out of 16 of those carries, 5 of those for touchdowns within the 5-yard line. He's got a knack for finding that goddamn end zone, and someone's going to take him. I don't know when, but I would be open to getting Zeke back on the team. I really would, as long as it made sense financially. Next up, so you
have to pay someone, Ronald Jones.
This is keeping in house.
Right.
This is keeping in house right now, and I guess they're considering Zeke in house kind of because, like we said, he played the last 7 seasons for the Cowboys.
Technically, isn't he a June or July post?
Yeah, June 1st. Yes, correct.
So he is still.
He's technically still on the team. Yeah, no, good call. Yep. So Ronald Jones, the Cowboys running back room has grown since the NFL draft and now stands at 4 total. Pollard, Jones, Vaughn, and Malik Davis. All 4 likely won't make the 53-man roster come September. Pollard is a lock with Vaughn's skill set. He has a pretty good chance to make the roster as well. Sorry, that was kind of written weird.
Sorry, yeah.
With Vaughn's skill set, he also has a good chance to make the roster. It'll likely come down to Davis and Jones for the final running back spot. Davis looked solid on the field when given the opportunity last season, but the team could decide to put him on the practice squad in favor of Jones. The 2-time Super Bowl champ hasn't gotten many carries over the past 2 seasons, though he can be a physical inside runner for the Cowboys. And they signed him up for a 1-year deal, a little bit insurance to kind of see what they were going to do. I thought when they signed Ronald Jones, it was pretty much because they were going to have him compete with a guy similar to him in physical stature, which they were going to get in rounds 3 to 5, right? So what they're saying with Vaughn's probably going to make the team because he's more like a Tony Pollard than the other type of back you need, which Malik Davis or Ronald Jones would fill that role. So I'm not set with going into the season as Ronald Jones, Deuce Vaughn, and Malik Davis as our only options if Tony Pollard goes down, to be completely honest.
God, no. But I don't think you have a standout second. I mean, to me, I guess the standout second is Malik Davis. Like, I want to see this kid. Well, when we did see him, we liked him last year.
They never gave
him.
They got to give him more carries in the Niners game. Once Pollard went down, they didn't even give Davis a shot.
How big is he, too?
He's not very big. I think he's only like 5'10", 2 something. He's not very big. He's more like a Tony Pollard than Ezekiel Elliott in my mind.
5'11", 202.
Yeah,
maybe 210. Yeah,
which isn't small.
It's not small.
Still a good size.
Hey, It's my size.
That's your size, but he's not a bruiser by any means.
Size, good size. Your
I am,
size
though.
up.
So I went through this article already, and the third back coming up, a guy we were just talking about.
Hey, Hunter Luepke.
Hunter. So, and again, for him to even be on this list, he's obviously regarded as someone that could be special.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he did have an injury in the season last year, so that could be another reason why he went undrafted.
Yeah.
But we like his size. He was featured as primary fullback at North Dakota State, but was worked like a running back there. He had 98 carries for 620 yards. Jesus, I'm like marble mouth right now.
Holy fuck.
Right? 621 yards and 9 touchdowns in his final college season, including a 20-carry, 150-yard performance with 2 touchdowns against South Dakota during the year. The fullback also caught 4 touchdowns as a receiver his senior year. So can receive out of the backfield. He can obviously play H-back. He can play fullback. He can play a little bit of tight end. So that helps. That versatility will always help you make an NFL roster.
So we've got Hunter, who has this kind of Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades type of skill set. Then we have Deuce Vaughn, who kind of also is that set. Then we have Tony Pollard, who is probably more of your classic running back, but he can catch the ball too. And then there's Rojo, who, I guess he's just more of a hard-nosed runner.
Which is funny because going into the season last year, we were all up in arms. You got to get Tony Pollard in the slot. You got to get him to do this. And now he's the lead back, right? It's like, no, keep him in the backfield to get Deuce Vaughn to play in the slot.
Well, it just seems to me like one of the ones that would be cut there would be Luepke or Luepke or Deuce Vaughn.
Yep.
Because you don't need both of them. And if you're bringing back Zeke, I mean, that's just not in the question right now. But I also read this thing, though, about Tony Pollard that surprised me a little bit. It showed that he was actually led the league in average yards after tackle or yards per attempt or something like that after contact.
Yeah, yards after contact.
Yep, per attempt, and then was like 10th in total yards after contact. So not just his average. So he does have the skills.
Oh, he breaks tackles.
Yeah.
Tony TP20 when
but it's those hard.
Yeah, he's going to break tackles. I love you know what? And we've talked about it before. You always think of Tony Pollard as being a smaller guy. He's not. He's a pretty big dude, and he's fast as fuck, and he's got moves, and he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. Like he's going into his fourth or fifth season here.
Yep.
And the amount of carries he had compared to Zeke going into this time in his career is crazy. He's pretty much minus the broken was it a fibula that he broke?
Yeah.
Besides that, he's been pretty much unscathed. So it's exciting that we have a back that we know can do it in the NFL who hasn't had that many yards put on him. It's just super annoying that he had that broken leg in the postseason.
I want to think it's going to move it into this direction because with Mike McCarthy being the offensive coordinator and Schottenheimer coming in, even though he's probably not going to do much.
Shoddy.
I want the offense to look different than it did the last 3 seasons.
Well, it should, hopefully. Yeah, you imagine it should look different.
So like the way they're moving the ball up the field, the play selection that they're doing, like I'm hoping that it's going to be a different type of offense that we're going to see on the field.
Shit, yeah, you're going to see Big Mike's offense, not Wiener Boy Kellen Moore's anymore. Mike McCarthy's coming in there firing. He's slinging it. He's running it. He's got 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. He's doing shit that Kellen Moore hadn't even dreamt of, son.
I want to, every time I think of Mike McCarthy and offense, I want to take his head and put it on that guy who buys that switchblade in the store. And he's like this.
Oh, yeah. And then he gives it back.
Just
wanted to have a little.
Just wanted to test it out, you know?
Okay, well, who do you think out of that article, current team, who are your top 2 and your backup?
That like right now on the team.
If you're picking.
I want to see Davis, to be honest.
Me too.
I like Davis last year. I liked him in preseason. I liked him when he got, I think it was the Tennessee Titans game he got involved in. Davis, to me, has earned the right to at least get more carries at number 2.
I think that TP20 and Luepke are kind of my 1-2 punch.
Interesting. No,
I think
well, give me your third then, Anthony, and we'll get third.
My third, controversial right now on there as a scat back. Give me some Deuce Vaughn, baby. Hey, the hype has found me, baby. The hype has found me. So, and just because that article kind of swayed me saying, and they convinced me that either Rojo or Malik Davis aren't making the squad. And if Malik Davis makes it, well, now that puts Vaughn as your third kind of scat back. He's your scat back.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to have, if Davis is filling that power role, I guess it does make sense to bring in Tony Pollard's backup,
Right?
as your third string.
That's kind of what they're saying, which makes it make a little bit more sense, doesn't it? When you say if Tony Pollard goes down, he's going to kind of replace what Tony does. He's not replacing what a short yardage back does.
Well, and if we go back to Schoonmaker, Fergie, Luepke, TP20, Deuce Vaughn,
Crack him if you got him, son. Oh, crack him. The
That's what we're talking
bandwagon boys, double cracking, back to back, standing on top of the cliff.
So think about it this way: when we saw, and you know what? It's rude to not take a drink. After
is.
Yeah, what are you doing, little bitch?
What we saw last year is TP20 would get those big yardage gains, or he'd show up and he'd have those electrifying runs. You would swap them out, and then Zeke goes in and actually Sherge Reboot says we need running backs like Pollard because when he went down versus San Francisco, our offense died, and Zeke offered literally nothing on the offense.
True.
So when we think of swapping in a TP20 to a true backup, you can have possibly Deuce Vaughn fill a lot of those like explosive runs as long as the blocking scheme's in there. You throw in
As long as he doesn't die getting tackled.
Hey, whoever.
yeah, exactly.
I think you need both because the Cowboys ran into a position that is true, Serge, but they also ran into a position where if they didn't have a running back who could fight for that hard yardage, that fucking crippled their run game too. So
They didn't adapt very well in that San Francisco 49ers game once TP20 went down. I'll say that. They could have went a bunch of other routes. They could have went to power offense. They should have. They honestly probably should have loaded up and tried to just run it with Zeke. They didn't really try that.
yeah, well, who knows what Zeke was feeling too.
True.
He might have been like, I have no power. My legs are gone.
Coach, don't put me in.
I don't got legs. Okay, well, let's look at this. This is one guy who's been on the radar for the Cowboys. This is going to be, I guess, new. Let me just read the headlines. Actually,
Can you go back to his picture for a second? Looks a little mouth breather for me.
real big mouth breather? But look at that size of that head. Holy shit!
And we've seen Leonard Fournette do what he had to do a couple times against the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, I love him. I love him on the Cowboys.
He's a battery ramp. He definitely would come in and have that role of short yardage, that guy.
I would. I mean, before we even get into it, Fournette or Zeke?
Right now, if we had to take either, I'd go Zeke.
Zeke, yeah.
I'd still take Zeke over Fournette.
I would take Zeke. I would take Zeke because he knows the facility, knows the team.
Better blocker.
Yep.
Still had way more touchdowns.
I hate how this website's formatted here.
Yeah, so Leonard Fournette headlines 3 backup running back fits for the Cowboys. So this is they're kind of looking
There we go.
outside
Fixed it.
of the Cowboys facility for these guys.
All right, so we got Leonard Fournette following a 2021 season in which Fournette posted a career best 4.5 yards per carry.
Like that.
He looked primed to fuel the Tampa Bay backfield, but the emergence of then rookie Rashad White paired with Fournette's own struggles altered the landscape. So he had a rough one, finished with 668 yards. Felt like it was 668 years ago. And 3 touchdowns. So a far cry from the 80 scored. But we know we can do it. That's me. I'm adding that. And as for Fournette's outlook in free agency and potentially with the Cowboys, he'd appear to be an ideal fit if he can return to his 2021 form. The Cowboys need a bruising back, and Fournette has shown plenty of power over his years.
Which I see, it's true. He fits that role. He fits that need the Cowboys have right now. So if they did go out and grab him for a decent price, I don't know if it's going to be more than a 1-year deal, possibly a 2-year deal. My biggest thing right now, if you're going to bring a running back in, I don't want him to be in there for more than $3 million a year.
Here's the thing. I don't want them to do a 2-year deal, but you're probably not really going to get. You're probably going to have to do that.
Just because as a running back, you want a little bit of security. Obviously, if you want to prove it type year, you're like, okay, I'll bet on myself. I'm going to come out there, ball, and then I'm going to get a 3-year deal. But a guy like Zeke Elliott and even Leonard Fournette, who are getting up there, they're in their mid-20s now, you always want that little bit of security, right? You want at least to be able to say you go on a 2-year deal and you get hurt in year one, you're still on the team to be able to rehab the following season. Whereas if you're on a 1-year deal and you get hurt, well, you're kind of fucked.
Do we really think that they're going to sign a 2-year deal for another back? They franchise tag TP20 for 1 season for $10 million. Like I can't see them. I can't see them.
Well, it might get to necessity. It goes to what you said earlier, Ad. It might be one of those things that they don't do until 2 or 3.
Okay, which then you definitely aren't signing someone for $6 million for 2 years. You're going to be spending $12 to $18 million for 2 years for a back in a situation like that.
No. The running back market right now, the most they'll pay for, I imagine, for a 2-year deal, even if they need it, like $6 million. But it might be, like you said, they might get into training camp. There might be an injury, or they might finally get into preseason week 1. And the guys that they were banking on having production don't. So they have to go and bolster their running backs.
Yeah, the only way it would get that high is if there was a run on running backs.
Right, which probably isn't going to happen. But you know what else isn't off the table? Rewind to 2000, I believe it was 18 when we traded for Amari Cooper. Midway through, like week 5, the Cowboys offense couldn't do shit. Cowboys go out and trade for Amari Cooper mid-season, turns the season around, they make the postseason. It could be something like that something that no one's even looking at. There might be a running back that they end up trading for early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. If you have all these the backs are already signed to a team, you're right. Totally can make trades happen.
I would see a trade probably over signing a free agent running back for like $10 million.
Yeah,
if that's what they were forced
depends.
Forced to, yeah.
Would you take Derrick Henry for $10 million for 1 year?
I don't think Derrick Henry will take Derrick Henry for $10 million for 1 year.
No, for sure. But I'm saying if he is going down to that amount. I mean,
money. I would say yes. I'd have to look at the books. I'd have to ask.
Because you're right. Because he's going to look at it and be like, OBJ gets signed for 1 season is it 1 or 2 seasons? 1 or 2 seasons to the Ravens for 1 season for $18 million.
But you got to think of this. You can't put a wide receiver contract at the same as a running back. Wide receivers are getting paid that crazy money in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
I know. But what I'm saying is Derrick Henry would see himself at that level.
Yeah, but he's a guy that doesn't want to do a 1-year deal. I can't see Derrick Henry in his prime signing a 1-year deal anywhere.
Oh, and he was looking fucking just.
Oh, he looks like a fucking doorway. Derrick Henry literally looks like if a doorway could be built with muscles.
Okay, so what would you take Derrick Henry? If Derrick Henry's like, I want the Cowboys are talking to them, what kind of deal do you want to see with Derrick Henry?
I don't want to do a deal with a running back like we did with Zeke.
But he's not a free agent anyways.
Anyways,
right? He's taking his contract.
So we got Leonard Fournette. Let's scroll down. Number 2, Kareem Hunt. I like this. I do like this.
I do like Kareem Hunt too. He's not often brought up.
I like Kareem Hunt better than I like Leonard Fournette, actually.
So do I.
He actually played that kind of back with the Browns behind Nick Chubb, and was successful. Sure, he might be trying to get to that 1A type backfield position, but out of all the teams out there, I think the Cowboys would be a perfect fit. Last year with Zeke, Tony Pollard and Zeke pretty much split the carries 50-50. Why wouldn't Hunt want to come in on a 1 or 2 year deal, 2-year probably more than likely, like we said, and just with those 50% of the snaps, outplay Tony Pollard? That's literally putting him on a guy, and Tony Pollard is on a 1-year deal right now, essentially.
Yeah.
So imagine being Kareem Hunt, come in, outplay Tony Pollard, and then maybe the Cowboys even move on from Tony Pollard, right?
Well, yeah, the Kareem Hunt to me, I mean, and to outside of his first few seasons, Kareem Hunt has always split the role with somebody else. He wasn't like the 1A guy. He hasn't been the 1A guy for a long time.
He was until he hit that chick or need that chick at the casino or wherever the fuck they were.
Kicked her in the butt.
Yeah, kicked her in the butt.
But I mean, yeah, Kareem Hunt is the type of back I would take over Leonard Fournette, and I'd even take him over Zeke.
The only thing with that, I mean, really look at his numbers. Or you still have to look at his numbers. His numbers fell 3.8.
Numbers lie.
Yeah, but he's had a 3.8 average last year. He only played in 8 games, and he only managed to score 5 touchdowns. Or sorry, he only scored 3 touchdowns last year. So he does fill a need, but still, if you look stat-wise, Zeke was still, as you can see him creeped on the screen at the bottom here, Zeke still had the better statistical season than both these guys.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't the
I just
only
changed
problem.
my mind.
No, like the problem with Zeke was he could only play 6 solid games or whatever, 6 to 8 solid games. Then something would happen. I don't know if it was the same injury or just a series of misfortunate events, and he would have a steep decline in his production to the point where it was like, shit, man, like it's almost a detriment now because when you could guess that Zeke was going to do it, he'd still be able to push through and get.
You're
the
like, he's
touchdown.
getting the ball here, and
But he would still be able to do it when he was whatever happened to him, his injury, and his play decline there. He just couldn't do it.
AJ, read this last paragraph, and that's the reason that I want out of the 3 guys. If I had to pick out of Elliott, that's who I'm going with.
Looking back at last season, Elliott posted a career low with 3.8 yards per carry, but tied his second best season for rushing touchdowns with 12. Pollard and Elliott have both publicly supported each other previously, so if the team opted to run it back in 2023, it would be hard to argue against the decision. It may be very well the best option for the Cowboys currently, and I think we all agree in the room.
I think so.
I mean, the only problem with Ezekiel Elliott is the fact that he has that contract and his production in yards has gone down since he's been signed. And that's the only like glooming cloud over top of Zeke. If Zeke didn't have that type of deal, I bet you he'd still be on the team and they would have re-upped it.
Well, and that's the thing. That deal's gone now, and that's the only way. You're right. The only bad thing about him is his contract outperformed his performance, right? He was one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL, and he was still good and he was still productive, but it wasn't as productive as we were paying him for.
So they could technically, actually, if I was Zeke and I wanted to come back and play for the Cowboys, and I know I'm getting paid dead cap money right now, I'd take a fucking $1.
Right? You know, you're already
I'd
making
take $1 this year, and I'd say pay me $5 million next year. So wash it, so it's $2.5 million each year or whatever.
Yep.
Would you make that deal?
Fucking rights, man.
Yeah.
10.
Because then
A 10. A fucking 10.
then he gets $5 million guaranteed next year. Cowboys can walk if they want, or they keep him on, and he gets paid $5 million.
I don't think
Or
they're
another
done.
two
I
and a
don't
half,
think they're
whatever.
done with the running back room right now.
Me neither.
No,
They cannot
gosh, no.
be.
No way.
They cannot be. And there's the other argument that, oh, well, if you're talking about running back, you need to talk about offensive line. But
I don't
as we
think they're
looked,
done there either.
I don't think they're done there either. But as we looked, I feel just on paper more confident with the O-line, even though, yes, there is a major hole at left guard.
Yep.
But I still felt like, okay, we could patchwork this, pick up a fucking free agent or make a trade for a guy that nobody knows who the fuck he is, but he comes on and he's just plugs the hole, you know?
Well,
the Cowboys front office can do those moves.
Oh, for sure. I was reading this article and I was in the comment sections and someone had posted that Cowboys fans have been so lucky with the offensive line that we've had over the 10 years
Holy shit,
that you
yeah.
forget that most offensive lines in the league maybe have 2 to 3 actually really good linemen.
They don't. The majority of teams don't have an O-line star.
Exactly.
They have the star of their team, but they're not fucking.
Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith. You know,
Boom.
even Tyler
Tyler Smith, arguably.
Terrence Steele last year, right? So we've
And don't shade, be a ass.
And exactly. So we've been so lucky with how good the offensive line has been in the last 10 years that Cowboys fans are kind of like, oh, well,
Jaded.
a little jaded when it comes to, oh, well, we don't have 5 surefire Pro Bowls. What the fuck is going on, right? So then that's not a thing in the NFL, right? So
It's hard to do.
It's hard to do. So if even right now you see you have potentially 4 of 5 starters on your offensive line,
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good spot. I still would have liked them to target it a little bit earlier in the draft, though.
Stephen White is saying 30 run plays between 3 or 4 backs, maybe role players at running back and tight end now. So just spreading that production across the board.
Yeah.
Let the clock get ran because we know Mike McCarthy can't clock manage. So let the running backs do all the clock management.
He's gonna need like one of those shock collars on him, and someo's gonna have to shock him when it's getting close.
But he's a bad dog.
Shut him out.
He's a bad dog. He's just gonna go. He's just gonna fight through it.
I like what I just did when he gets hit. Yeah, it's
Call
supposed
the timeout, Mike.
time out.
He won't do it.
Not yet.
God God damn it! He threw the fucking challenge flag.
Well, it stopped the time at least.
Yeah.
No, I agree that the tight end scenario it can be used. It depends on how you're looking at that extra running back position, right? You got your bruiser, you got your what is it, the bell cow, your bruiser, and then I guess you want a receiving running back. You could more than likely in the NFL you find those in two guys.
Yep.
Those three things.
What's the bell cow one though?
It's the guy who can run,
Like
do
the
everything,
guys that
basically.
your bell cow. The guy's gonna carry it mostly.
Run it.
Like Tony Pollard's your bell cow right now.
3 downs.
Right. Okay.
know.
'Cause
You
I was
never
like,
heard
what?
that term before?
I don't know. No, I don't. And then I
Like
look
Derrick Henry's the prototypical like bell cow. Like he's a bell cow.
Yeah, but it's just funny because I was like, the bell cow. I don't know what the bell cow is. And it's like, well, you know what the bell cow? This is your prototypical. It's like the bell cow guy. I was like, I don't know what the bell cow guy is.
Derrick Henry is a bell cow guy. Like he's going to be an every down back that carries the load.
Yeah.
All the loads.
But then TP has the catching ability. So, but when you're looking at a tight end, if they're coming in and blocking and catching, okay, they're kind of filling in a Venn diagram. They're circled a little bit of that running back position who would be blocking, or I mean, I don't know that you'd ever use your tight end in a running game, give him the ball and run with it, but I'm sure you could do that too. So, that's just bringing up Schoonmaker in my mind.
Scoony.
Scoony
The old
Toony.
Schooner.
The old Scoon. Someone also posted on Reddit. They're like Scoon making there was the art of making sailboats. So his family,
Totally.
he a schooner. You got to get that. You got to.
Yeah, a schooner is a,
They've always been boat people.
They've always been. They're great on the water.
and doesn't Michigan have like a lot of like aren't they surrounded by
The Great Lakes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Schoonmaker, they
Although I
drafted
think most of those lakes are too polluted to even swim in.
him. That's why he has sailed.
That's why you
sailboat.
sail them.
The evolution from up until this draft and probably like on day 2, or actually maybe 2 days before the draft, I didn't respect the tight end position as much. And then when we started to go through it, I started to watch a bunch of tight end stuff, and it made me appreciate the tight end role. But if you look at the running back position and how a lot of these backs have turned into like the Christian McCaffrey or the Deebo Samuels. Well, Deebo Samuels wasn't running back, but these running backs who need to play almost like a slot receiver. And then the tight ends are kind of filling that fullback role. A lot of the reasons why when you're seeing like these guys like TP20 coming down and we're talking about the bell cow or
What's a bell cow?
I don't know. You know, a bell cow's a bell cow. But like the running back role, you have like that power back, and then you have this like kind of hybrid back who functions like a receiver, a slot receiver, and an explosive, quick back. My point.
I was gonna say, spit it out. You're there.
Are you vaped?
No. Do you think that the tight end, because how it's also evolved, has eliminated the need for the fullback?
Oh, 100%. That's the whole reason that you nailed it. The whole reason the fullback has been kind of taken out of the NFL is because you can pretty much get these super athletic guys that can play tight end that can also just go back in the backfield and do the exact same thing.
And also though, think the double running back scenario is now like by habit. Before it was like just by chance you had one running back and then you drafted or got another running back and he was really good too. Like teams didn't really do the two running back scenario. So that's where the fullback would come in.
Yeah.
Once the positions on the team didn't change, more teams want 2 running backs. So okay, we'll cut our fullback then because we can make up for it with I think that's also part of like a double end attack on the fullback position where it's like you're gonna get cut one way or another.
Yeah, tight ends can cover for what you do or a running back. Like there's literally 2, like a second. Your RB2 can do some of the things you can do,
and they can do more.
Yeah, and more.
Yeah,
So the fullback is just
shafted,
a shitty spot to grow up
but
being.
the fullback now, if you look at Hunter, he kind of looks more. He could take running back snaps, but he can also do things that a tight end can do.
Oh, for sure.
So Stephen White, who's been here since the beginning.
What up, Steve-O?
Bell cow is the lead cow. Bell that one, and the rest follow.
There you go.
That's a simple. That's the definition I was looking for. And chat,
Tony
as
Pollard.
usual.
I would have rather him just said a bell cow's a bell cow.
Tony Pollard wakes up on the bus and Jerry Jones is tying a bell around him.
Ding, ding, ding.
You're my new bell cow. I want them to follow.
You want to toss me another one there?
Yep.
My friend? Toss.
Fire that fucking pig skin!
Hey, so while we were talking, I almost faked Ant with that. Sorry.
Yeah,
about that. While we were talking, there is an article here on North Carolina's Asim Richards, who the Cowboys selected 169th overall in the 2020
Ayo.
NFL draft in Kansas City.
69,
69.
dude.
It almost looks like he was drafted at I-69.
Ooh,
Like the Apple version of 69.
I-69.
I-69. I-69. You know, everyone's yeah.
69.
You, Dad.
Dad, stop saying that.
I-69.
But yeah,
This loser?
so let me just go over this cat because we didn't give him any love. And I don't think we knew anything about him, and this might give us a little insight on the guy. He's extremely durable, making 34 straight starts to finish out his college career, including over 1,000 snaps last year alone. So the dude has put in the work. He has long arms to keep defenders at bay and really good athleticism. His college tape didn't dazzle, which is why he was still available in the 5th round. But all of his traits make him an intriguing development player. So it's like, does your team have within its coaching tool set the ability to have players rise to their best ability or to unlock like
Take
hidden
this raw
talent?
material
Yeah.
and now turn it into a left guard.
Smelt it.
Smelt it. The thing I like about that is they showed Steve Avila's name up there, and
Yep.
I was reading something today about, I think it was actually Trotta that posted it on Blogging the Boat, or sorry, dirty soap in my mouth, the Landry hat.
There you go.
And it was kind of smoke screens and what rank the Cowboys had players at. And reportedly, well, it's just this one quick thing. Reportedly, they had a 4th round grade on Steve Avila, the Cowboys. So that's why they were shying away from him. So remember, a lot of people thought he was going round 1 and were screaming for Stevie Boy at round 1. But I guess the Cowboys possibly had a 4th round draft grade on Steve Avila. So if that's the case, and then we get Asim Richards here in the 5th round,
Yeah.
you got to feel all right about that, to be honest.
And they also had Laporta, Sam Laporta, in that same thing. That if I'm
as the
reading-
highest ranked,
Yeah,
as the
tight
highest
end.
ranked tight end.
Which again, looking at what that, so obviously Dalton Kincaid rated higher on most people's boards for what they want to do. That's the BPA for the tight end position. But I want the Cowboys to draft a role that will fill their need, not just BPA. Don't take the best tight end technically available and move them in. So it was interesting.
Well, but it depends what you mean. Sorry, because their BPA is probably, let's say they take that into account.
Yeah,
Sure,
so their BPA would have, if they had Laporta,
I know what you mean.
if they had Laporta and Kincaid there, they would have taken Laporta because he was their best player available. But everyone else is, they made their own board to themselves, right? So it kind of goes with what you're saying.
we don't get to see.
The reason they have Laporta higher is because they're
never.
taking his strengths and putting them in their system, opposed to Kincaid's strengths and putting him in their system.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's
sorry, I just got to do this one for Stephen White.
Smoke it up, smoke it up, smoke it up.
Smoke weed every day.
Hit it, don't quit it. It's how we do, baby. It's how we do.
I don't know where I don't know where it is
Flying
here.
high.
Oh, hang on.
But this is one cat who could come in there, play inside. With the loss of Connor McGovern, he might be able to be that fucking fill-in.
Could you imagine, even if he gets any time at left guard as a 5th round pick?
Fucking start him 6 games.
It's a fucking steal. Even 6, yeah, totally.
I mean, that's a lot.
But but if he's good enough to do it, if they think he's, say at the end of the season, he's outperforming people and he gets bumped up, that'd be amazing.
Look, that's where you want to see this guy come and start playing, is the last 6 games of the season, but not based on injury, based on he's just been playing so well.
He's the better guy.
He's the better guy, and he takes over. There's also who was the other guy? Wilowski, or that big armed
Matt.
Well, let's go.
Yeah,
well, let's
that we
go.
drafted last year, I think, in this, where he was undrafted last year, but he's stuck around. So
he's a big boy.
there is some guys, and a guy we didn't talk about when we were doing our depth chart last week. I believe we signed him as a free agent. He's a free agent guard. I forget his name, and I know
This year?
Yeah, I know this is a terrible way to go into it, but
This loser?
But Cowboys guard, he's wasn't undrafted. He was a free agency signing. Like he's played in the NFL before.
Oh, okay.
But he's another guy that they're saying has a chance to start at guard. I fucking can't think of this.
We'll find it.
Chuma.
Yeah, Chuma.
Edoga.
Chuma.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So there's another.
Right. We didn't even
have him on our list. So there is guys that could possibly fill the role. And when I started looking at this, it started making me feel a little bit better. And this is the reason that offensive line maybe wasn't as big as a need that
they
the
thought.
Cowboys thought compared to what fans thought.
Not this year, perhaps, with who they saw available. Crack him if you got him.
Crack it.
So Chuma, I totally forgot all about this guy.
Yeah, I know.
25 years old too. He's a young guy. I think he had high praise and just kind of came in under what people expected him to play. But he still has that ability. Get the guy in there. And come play for Dallas. You're gonna love playing football.
Hey, dude,
That's what the players say.
He was a third-round pick in the 2019 NFL draft.
Yeah, that's what Stephen White just said. Third rounder.
Obviously, he has the tools.
And so Stephen White's also saying we have 4 or 5 to fight for that left guard role right now.
Which is nice.
Which is what we want.
That is true.
Competition's
Hey, at the very least, it's a question mark, but at least we've got a bunch of potential answers there. Hey,
potential answers and the coaching to get it done. Get it in you. Crack him if you got
and
him,
realistically,
That's what we do.
son. There it is.
realistically, we just need a guard to come in and not lose the game, because when you're playing on that line with all those fucking behemoths, Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, fucking Terrence Steele,
Say it. Speak to me, baby.
and
Biadash.
Badash, yeah.
Badass.
What is
Yadish?
it? Three S's and a P and a T or whatever.
No,
Anyway.
4 T's.
4 T's.
4 T's. Yeah.
4 T's and a Z. 4 T's and a Z, baby.
I don't know what that is.
It's
Well,
Terrence,
maybe you should start reading Alex's articles.
Terrence Steele, Tyler Smith. I can't.
Tyron Smith.
Tyron Smith.
He doesn't even.
Tyler Biadash.
Tyler Bidas.
And Zach Martin.
Zach Martin. 4 T's.
4 T's and a Z, baby.
What article did you write that in? I usually read your articles.
I can't remember. It was.
Guess what? Doesn't matter.
Month ago, 2 months ago, maybe.
It's a long time ago. But hey, that's what all the kids are calling them that.
All the kids are calling them the T's and the Z's, or T's and the Z. Or as Canadians say it, T's and the Z. Doesn't sound as nice.
Oh, T's and a Z out there, eh?
Yeah, the T's and the Z. Get the T's and the Z out there, eh?
Hey, we're here on a Cowboys Can Fan, eh? Looking at 4 T's and a Z.
Fuck, man. Fuck, buddy.
Oh, fuck, buds. You gotta get your guys out there, buds. You gotta get your... Hey, bro, you can't just fucking dump your screen like that when I'm not ready for it.
Oh, sorry, dude.
Dump it. Did you just tip your... Was that some behind baseball?
Oh, yeah.
They know Alex has a fantasy background, not football.
I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
Ad's favorite soundbite.
Yeah.
Ooh, do we want to look at? Here's an article.
Let's see it. I'm gonna go.
Ooh, someone can't handle his
Yeah, you
drinks.
go have a little
Squidge?
wet the porcelain, as they say, and we'll read this after it comes up. But shit, I wanted to do.
Oh, shit. Okay, hang on. I'll get that for you. 1 second.
What?
Damn it.
I wanted to do. But
Shit, them boys is having the time of their lives.
probably got to do it on main event. We got to
Okay.
do the awards and just get
Right.
them out of the way.
Let's promote, let's pump. So Wednesday night main event, we will do the awards.
Yeah,
Period.
it'll take 10 minutes.
Yep.
We can roll through them, and then next year.
Now, granted,
we'll do-
EJ Savage is probably the only one who's been reminding us that we haven't done.
I
the
know,
awards yet.
I know.
But we gotta prep graphics. We gotta do a few things. So that gives us enough time.
I'm saying let's just get it done to check it off the list, and we can make it a little bit nicer next year. But I'm not against doing that. But let's not hold up for that.
I agree.
And it'll be simple. We'll bring it up. We'll do a little celebration. But then next year it'll be on a more of a. We'll pick the day that we actually do it, because this one the issue was, and it could have been done.
Yeah.
But was supposed to be done during the draft. but there was just a lot of moving parts, and day 3 was not as long as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys feel like the draft? I mean,
day 3 felt faster than the.
we just had so much going on that I thought we were gonna have all this time to do things.
I know, so did I. I was like, there's going to be downtime. I'm going to be able to edit videos.
When people were coming
barely.
on, we were like, okay, we don't care if you got 5 minutes to come on, that's great. If you want to stay for an hour, for sure, you can come on and stay for that long. But we got you slotted for about 45 minutes. Usually we do 20, 30 minutes. Well, everyone fucking stayed their max time or more, which is not a problem.
Awesome.
It's not a problem at all. But it's like all the little things that the time fillers that we had, they just went out the window because we didn't need them.
Yeah, which
So
is
it's
good,
like-
which
yeah.
is like a win. Because like you guys said, it went pretty fast for me.
It was great. It was a fun. It was the
It was
most fun way to spend the draft. We had so many people stop in, and
Insightful people, like guys that know what they're talking about.
we had a lot of fun, like with the reactions and just
Totally.
and yeah. So that was good, and the fallout. But I was exhausted. I think I'm still fucked.
You
up from it.
you got sick from the draft.
I must have. Probably one of Adam's kids had a little bug, and it.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And you guys are all immune to it. I'm not around the little disease factories.
Some people can handle 4 days of live streaming. Some people can't.
Dude, I used to work in a daycare with 30 kids, and I was never sick.
Well, then shouldn't your immune system be banging?
Well, obviously something's fucked up. Obviously, I'm fucked up now. So
Nothing.
no, it was because I weakened my immune system by drinking 4 days straight.
That was the thing.
Kind of bleached everything.
By day 3, I was like sitting there. I was like, I'm drinking water. I think you guys were both drinking coffee. I was like, I might not even drink. You had a little bit of Bailey's in yours, though.
As soon as he cracked one, we were like, okay.
No,
let's go.
I cracked the first one. It
As
was
soon as you cracked one, we were both like,
the
let's do it.
It was like Cowboys up next. I was like, give me one of those fucking things. I need one in me.
EJ Savage says, I appreciate getting on a lot. I landed me a guest appearance on Cowboys Cave with Mike and K9.
Nice.
Fucking A, dude.
That's what we like to see. That's a big thing too. Like, I mean, the thing that I loved about it is the amount of people that we had on, and there's so many guests that we haven't had on before, like Ryan Flowers from Clutch Sports Talk. We haven't had him on before, and it was great hearing him. EJ Savage leading up to the draft, plus being on the draft, it's like, well, great. EJ is gonna be a regular as usual on the show. But yeah, it's nice to see.
Well, to me, it motivates us for next year to just take it to the next level
yeah.
again.
That's all you can do.
But
Take
even
it to the limit.
We'll see what we're doing, or we won't be going to next year's draft.
I don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We'll
So
have to
I-
discuss.
So
We'll have
what
to
I
discuss.
talked
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I talked to somebody yesterday who went to Detroit. When Detroit was hosting the Super Bowl, and he's like, it was pretty rough. But he's been there since, and he's like, they've been doing a lot to get the downtown core looking revitalized. So he was saying, oh, it would probably be a pretty sweet draft to go to.
Well, we got lots of time to think about it. So 3 pre-draft Cowboys rumors that were clearly a smokescreen by our guy Jerry Trotta from the Landry Hat. The number one place to find the Cowboys Can Fan podcast.
So let me zoom in here and
Center it up, please. Look at
the
this.
number 3 is the high possibility of Steve Avila.
So this is what I was chatting about
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Before the tight end floodgates opened, Avila was considered a high possibility for the Cowboys in the first round. A lifelong Texas resident, the TCU standout took a top 30 visit to the Dallas Cowboys and revealed pre-draft it would have been a dream come true to stay in the state. That only amplified the Avila Cowboys noise. At the very least, Avila was considered a realistic first-round option. When push came to shove, though, he wasn't even their top-rated interior lineman. What?
How do they know that?
How did they know that? In fact, the post-draft buzz suggests Dallas had a 4th-round grade on Avila, so who knows if he would have been in contention even at 58th. The Cowboys' war room footage shows Syracuse offensive tackle Matthew Bergeron was the other player in consideration along Mazi Smith. We admittedly heard of Dallas's attraction to Bergeron pre-draft, but not as a round 1 possibility. So it goes back to all the shit that you hear pre-draft is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's honestly bullshit. Every which way we thought the Cowboys were going to go in round 1. Well, look, you saw us at round 1 when we selected who we selected. We were all a little bit shocked because for the last month and a half, we've been being fed bullshit lies, which means the offense.
But you know this.
The front
You know
office
this.
is doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
But can you
It's
say
like Dallas is going for it.
we know what that they're going to do this, but we're gonna participate every single year.
So
You
we're gonna have to even deep dive more next year in our pre-draft analysis, because a lot of the shit I was just going off of stuff I was heard and then kind of researched off of that, which might not be the best bet. It's kind of you're playing a game of crapshoot. You're crapshooting. You're shooting from the hip a little bit.
The issue is you're never going to know what that like.
How can you confirm it?
How can you confirm it now? Now, granted, this was an interesting year because offensive coordinators changed, so they needed to do something a little different. The biggest surprise I thought it was the amount of defensive love we saw, because we're all thinking, well, defense is fucking solid. Like, why spend any time on these defensive players right now when you could shore up your fucking offense?
But the main takeaway from this first thing was everybody thought Avila was a fringe first round player. We drafted him, I think, even in our mock draft first round.
Yeah,
where the Cowboys are like, nah, he's a fourth bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
I feel also we only drafted him because a lot of other people's mock drafts were.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's the whole smoke screen. The reason people are drafting them, because he's getting media attention. Number 2, Cowboys are definitely drafting a quarterback. Might have been, during the Senior Bowl, Jones.
Here we go.
Where are you settling me?
There we go.
Okay. During the Senior Bowl, Jones disclosed Dallas's intentions to draft a quarterback. The owner even went as far as to say it's a mistake to not invest in a rookie quarterback every year or so. That got the people talking and mocking. Between Purdue's Aiden O'Connell, who had a private workout with the Dallas Cowboys, Houston's Clayton Tune, TCU's Dork Boy Max Dugan, UCLA's Adams Dreamboat Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and BYU's Jaron Hall, there was no shortage of quarterback prospects linked to the Dallas after the Cowboys had Jones speak on their behalf. ESPN's Todd Archer shared O'Connell was under consideration in round 4 before the Cowboys took San Jose State defensive line William Fiocco. Perhaps there was some truth behind the quarterback rumblings, but Jones quote, suggested it was a lock that Dallas would come out of the draft with a new gunslinger. Though they passed on O'Connell, Stanford's Tanner McKee, who went to the Eagles, Dugan, who went to the Chargers, and undrafted QBs Malik Cunningham and Chase Bryce were all there for the taking. So, we all wanted it. I think this would have been the good time to take a quarterback.
I agree with the theory that you should probably get in the habit of drafting a quarterback, let's say 3 out of 5 years. In a 5-year span, right? So maybe this is that miss. The need wasn't there because Rush is here for 2 years,
right?
Unless you think we're going to draft someone who's going to beat Rush, it's kind of just a wasted pick if there are better needs. Now,
for sure, especially in like where we would have drafted the 5th to the 7th, where we had 4 picks, right? And all those guys are in the talks of having a very good chance of starting.
If DTR turns out to be who Adam believes that he is, then that's going to be a miss.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a miss for 32 other teams
in multiple rounds.
31 other teams. Yeah. So
the other thought is, was it much of a smoke screen? As soon as they re-signed Cooper Rush, Dak restructured. It's like, okay, maybe the Cowboys aren't in a rush to get that other quarterback.
Do you think Rush makes that joke
probably
all the time?
We're probably going to see.
Wow, I'm so not in a rush today.
Yeah, we're probably going to see it happen next year's draft.
I think. Well, yes, next year would make the most sense because you still got Rush for 1 year, but you'd rather not have to sign Rush again and just take this rookie if you can.
Outside, the Cowboys, I think, are on that list when you look at teams that have had the least amount of starting quarterbacks over the course of a certain amount of years. The Cowboys fall into like that second kind of tier. First tier is obviously the Green Bay Packers with only 2 quarterbacks starting. Cowboys have only had 6 starting quarterbacks in like the last 20 seasons or something like that, all the way back to Aikman. So, or something similar like that. They haven't had a lot,
including a Rush who came in and
no.
Okay.
Like Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback, albeit injuries. You know what I mean? Like
this was Dak, Romo,
Aikman,
Bledsoe,
Quincy Carter, and Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's pretty damn good.
That's not a lot of quarterbacks.
It's not a lot of quarterbacks.
You can see the franchise doesn't want to cycle through. They want to pick their slinger and stick with them.
And I
through
feel
thick
this
and
is
thin.
an appropriate time to just go on the offense for Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
Do
it
it.
is.
Because the man is a perennial top 10 QB. He did have a bad season last year, but if you're going, and it is a judge on what you did recently type of league, I get that. But if you're going to pick out this year as what he's going to be doing next year, then I think you got a big cup of smelly told you so soup coming.
Well, this is the thing with
He's going to have a bounce back.
this is the thing since I've been a Cowboys fan, and I'm sure it's been prior to this too. But since I've been a Cowboys fan, it's basically been Romo and Dak, and they've always just been such polarizing forces for Cowboys fans. It's like
Right.
they're hated and loved. They're hated and loved, and until Dak can win a Super Bowl, there's going to be that X amount of fans that hate him.
Well, the team has been built for a Super Bowl run.
Are we better?
Looks like
Are
it,
we
man.
better than we were last in the San Francisco game?
Yes,
100%.
Yeah, I would say
100%.
100% too.
100%.
So that's a win. So far, that's a win. The offseason has been a win. The team's definitely looking like they're going to compete better this year than they did last year.
I remember leaving last season and being like, we are in a lot of trouble. And
Yeah.
and now I feel fairly positive coming into this season. We definitely didn't get worse. Actually, sorry, I shouldn't say that. The only position that feels squirrely whirly right now is that RB position, because it's just not known. And
It's an unknown.
You kind of talked about it earlier on. We just don't know about it yet.
But according to people that watch football, the running back position doesn't matter. So it's like, that's how people feel about the running back position. It's like, it doesn't matter. Who cares about it? It's devalued. You could put anyone in there and be successful.
What they don't get is it's like, yeah, it's devalued, but not in the way that you're talking about it. It's not like, just bring in any Joe Schlub and he's going to, it's like, no, it's a valuable position. It's just, it's a two-horned position now. So it's stretched very wide, right? But there's still, how many starting running backs are there in the NFL that you would trade on your team for Tony Pollard, let's say?
Not many.
Like
Four or five.
Yeah. Like there's not a lot. So like that's what the Cowboys get to deal with is you have this top 5, arguably top 8 if you want to be looking at it on the lower side of things. You have that type of running back, hard to replace. So of course you're fucking going to be looking at everyone else's like, just bring in
Peter McSchmo.
Peter Mitchmo, and he's going to run. It's like,
Gosh, I hate
probably.
Peter
but
McSchmo.
Fuck Peter McSchmo. So the last smoke screen that the Dallas Cowboys sent out, and one that we talked about a lot in the last few mock drafts, was everything related to the tight end position. And Trotta saying, give credit to the entire Cowboys draft team for executing the best smoke screen of the first round. All everyone heard in the weeks leading up to the draft was that Michael Mayer wasn't getting past Dallas at number 26, which we did here. We fell into that trap a little bit. In the event Dalton Kincaid was still available, though, he would have been the pick considering he was the team's top-ranked tight end. That was the narrative being pushed by draft experts and the general media. That wasn't true either. Though it baited the Bills into trading one spot ahead of the Cowboys to draft Kincaid, which at the point they were trading up, we in here were even like, oh, fuck, the Bills just duped the Cowboys. They're trading up to get Kincaid. Fans in Buffalo and some national pundits are crediting the Bills with duping Dallas, but it was actually the other way around, as Dallas likely wouldn't have taken Kincaid in round 1 anyway. Per ESPN's Todd Archer, a guy that has a lot of pull, he has a lot of people in the know, so you got to take this as pretty much guaranteed.
Solid,
like this
right?
is facts. Like he's not going to say, he's not going to put his
journalistic integrity on the line by throwing out shades of lies.
Well, if he does that, he does
Exactly.
that too much, he starts to lose his integrity.
So
he picks and chooses.
So this is pretty much, you could say, guaranteed. Iowa's Sam Laporta was actually the Cowboys' number 1 tight end, followed by Kincaid and Mayer. Additionally, the Cowboys didn't have a first-round grade on any of them. We like to think they would have traded up in the second round if one of Laporta or Mayer had fallen within their range, but they were gone by pick 35.
right.
Another thing I think we were all kind of expecting. Remember we were saying, Cowboys, might trade up and get a tight end.
Well, and that's where you kind of said Schoonmaker was the next best available, and they needed to take somebody at number 2, or else it's going to fuck their.
They had to.
Like, yeah, if they didn't get a tight end at number 2, they would probably be. How bad would that have been for them, right?
Well, you could have got Darnell Washington still in the 3rd, I believe.
I wonder what he was on their board.
I mean,
If they wanted him, they would have taken him at 2.
The knee injury that he has, I think, is a bigger concern than most people are thinking. Like, if you take him in the 3rd, at least you're basically saying, all right, we're not expecting him to come in and do much this year. You're taking it and being like, okay, he can sit back for a year and then possibly play a year 2. So
Right. Which them not doing that, and then them not doing that to a lot of the players, it's like, we're in win now mode.
yeah, they needed a tight end that's going to come in and compete for the tight end 1 spot, which is Schoonmaker was the last guy on the board. What would you guys here, just to play draft fun? What would you guys have done or traded, say, to move up to get Laporta or Mayer?
That's an AJ question.
A 3rd? Would you traded your 3rd to say switch Mayer for Schoonmaker, but you lose Overshown? I don't know if I would.
No, I wouldn't have traded that. Absolutely not.
Because now you got to think of it this way: you lose Overshown, who's also he's gonna play this year.
For me, the tight ends always had to fall to 26.
Yeah.
Was not going to trade up for a tight end. Liked trading up for
58
no, I wouldn't trade up for a tight end
in the 2nd round.
on any rounds.
Okay,
No,
fair.
No.
I like it.
But if they were there, I would have probably taken Mayer from what I know. But don't listen to me.
But in round 2.
No, in round 1.
Oh, you would have taken him in.
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
I was
gotcha.
still on board with that but now after reading everything, I love what the Cowboys did. I'm fully on board. You know me, a Jerry's boy, AT&T represent.
What?
So it makes sense to me. It just took me some time to get used to it. I didn't like Laporta, but if the Cowboys went with him, I'm stoked that the Cowboys went with Schoonmaker. We talked about him with Big Chris. Fucking
Well, and you know what the fun part about
Michigan, baby.
You know what the fun part about all this is? We have all these players now that we feel like we have an emotional attachment to, because it's always going to be, we're comparing Schoonmaker to Mayer, Laporta, Kincaid, Washington. It makes it more fun. It makes it more fun. You see them playing or not succeeding, and possibly Schoonmaker succeeding.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it just plays that extra thing as a fan. One thing that is outside of even the game itself, right? Because it has nothing to do with realistically what they do. The other tight ends have nothing to do with what the Cowboys do, but it's a fun side story. It's like a side quest.
I also want to see what all of these draft picks do in the next 2, 3, 4 years here.
Love it.
We got to win a Super Bowl this year, though.
Super Bowl or bust, baby. It's funny, as Cowboys fans, we always get harped on for saying we're going to the Super Bowl. But if you're not a fan of a team expecting to go to the Super Bowl every year, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. What are you cheering to win 5 games? If you don't, and I get it, there's realistically and not realistically, there's going to be years you're like, there's not a chance we are playing in the Super Bowl. But we have a team coming off of back-to-back 12-5 seasons, a wild card loss, a divisional loss. So we are ascending of at least what we're doing. Why the fuck wouldn't we be Super Bowl or bust this year as fans? Why wouldn't we be pissed off if we're not in the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, I would say that our competition has been consistent. We've grown, they've grown, so it's it's still in reach.
Definitely.
As much as it was a year ago or even more than 2 years ago.
Baby, that's what we do.
The only thing that makes me nervous is whenever I'm optimistic going into a Cowboy season,
It's bad.
it's usually bad. And whenever I'm a little bit pessimistic, it's kind of like, oh, they do quite well. And
let's see what happens.
This year I feel pretty optimistic. So we'll see if it plays into that trend.
Yeah, I've only known optimism as a Cowboys fan the last 2 years.
Hey, let's keep riding that wave. I ain't ready for the bandwagon boys and myself to go through a dark age yet. I'm ready. We're still in that window. I thought when Dak went down with that thumb injury, you could see me almost crying on live air.
We have.
Is that game 1?
Game 1 last year.
Yeah,
I thought
it was in the post game, which
Yep.
has now been retitled to Sunday service.
Yeah.
It was in the Sunday.
How was exercising some demons?
Yeah, and I remember we just said Dak Prescott this injury, and fucking Anth just.
I thought season was done. I honestly did. I was like, holy fuck, I've been so excited for the season all year, and he just got hurt. So
Then Rush came in and fucking
see what I mean?
did work,
I was
baby.
I was pessimistic about it, and it goes perfectly. Now I'm super optimistic. So
I
let's
want to
just hope
think
it's
that
wrong.
you can't control how the Dallas Cowboys do, but
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Should I play us out?
It's spicy.
Yeah, I think, man.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night, we're back for the main event on Wednesday night. Bandwagon Boys, always a slice. We're kind of entering that weird area where there's not a ton of shit happening. But, we're going to be here Wednesday nights. We're going to be here Sunday servicing. It was a pleasure to have everyone stop by and hang out with us. Bandwagon Boys over there. Woo! Anthbest over here. We will be back Wednesday night. What time do we go? 6 p.m.
6 p.m. PST.
Pacific.
6 p.m.
8.
PST, 8 CST, 9 EST.
That's what it is, baby.
and always number one in your hearts.
Hey-oh, and you're number one in our hearts.
All three of them. All three of
three
our
hearts.
hearts.
We're shoving you into all three of our hearts. You got to live in all of them.
We got hard-ons.
We got hard-ons, baby.
Peace.